we are in episode 96, we think, of the Trash Talk Business Podcast. This is your weekly rendition to sit down and chat about growing, scaling, and building your junk removal dream, or landscaping, or cleaning, or architecture, whatever business you're in. As always, I'm Andy Weins. He is Casey Bubba Lawrence, and we are coming to you live-ish. I mean, we're both in the same room.
Yep.
Butler, Wisconsin. We're not live. We're recording it from a Sunday.
Yeah,
Whatever. All right. Casey, what do you want to talk about today? I have 2 cups of coffee. And we got a couple hours before we got to fly to Chicago. Or I have to get you to Chicago so you can fly back.
That's right. So, the one thing I want to talk about is, what do we have in store for this year?
Yeah.
Because, it's funny. When we started this, we had a goal, 100 episodes.
That is correct.
That was our goal. We wanted to, let's just see if we can hang in there for 100 episodes. But that's also why whenever we talk to junk removal businesses that just start up, we always tell them, do 100 jobs. Then you'll understand a little bit more if you like doing what you're doing. You also get a little bit more sense of what the business requires. So same thing with this. We're doing 100 episodes, and we're creeping up on it pretty quick. And, and we're going to push down on the throttle. So I'd like to talk about what we have in store this year.
Yeah, we spent, like we preach, right? Practice what you preach. We spent yesterday strategy session. We brought in Taylor, our producer, to talk about, the basic meeting, right? The meeting was first, where are we at today? What are the measurable results of what we've done so far? Mm-hmm. What are some benchmarks within the industry, which is an indicator? And then what are our goals? And then based off of that, what are the action items and action plan? Yeah. So we're very thankful. We've had 50,000 or 48
some change.
By the time this airs, we'll have over 50,000 downloads. Yeah. We average about 250 downloads a week release and 350 in the first 30 days. Mm-hmm. So that's telling us that, and very consistent. Mm-hmm. We have some episodes that are up over 1,000, and what that's telling us is we have a very loyal listener group. Mm-hmm. And that people are contributing. And we also noticed that our best performing episodes all were with guests. Mm-hmm. And most of the ones that were best performing guest-wise were people that had something tactical
to deploy
versus something strategic, right? And this is all because we sat down and looked at the data, right? Data-driven decisions. We spent an hour analyzing the data from last year.
Yeah.
At least. Of our 5-6 hour meeting, we spent the first hour or so looking at the data, because when we agree on the facts, then we can start talking about what the plan is and how to get there and why.
Right. Also, the one thing that's important here is when you look at this data, it kind of tells a story. Obviously we look at the first few episodes. They're going to have more total views, obviously, because a lot of people that tune into the show now, they'll go back and watch those. So we have to look at those numbers, because some of them are going to be a little skewed. As far as the consistency that we're seeing now. Now, what we've also seen is we have a private Facebook group.
Yep.
And it's a very limited number of people, 450 in this private Facebook group. Of those 450, we need to understand who's tuning in every time and what do they want to hear more? What do they want to see more? One of the things we're going to do is open up the audience more. We're going to be getting a bigger reach to, I think, a wider audience, like the bigger Facebook groups.
Oh, yeah. The whole goal here is the distribution. We're changing our distribution strategy because we looked at, and that went to, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of other businesses out there that have presence on YouTube or Facebook, mm-hmm. and because their end state is to sell a product or a service. That's mm-hmm. why we talk about junk removal coaches or the get-rich-quick schemes, or there's also some people that are just pure clickbait. They're trying to build their YouTube audience to make money on YouTube.
Yeah.
When we look at what we're doing, we don't have a coaching program. We're not asking you to go sign up with vendors that we like and getting kickbacks from them. And we're not
Except for Jobber,
but that's more. I talked about. I'm actually wearing my Jobber shirt today because it was clean. Mm-hmm. It's Sunday. The laundry on Sunday, so we have limited Camel Crew shirts. I had a green one, and I was like, I haven't worn a non-black shirt.
It reminded me.
You're wearing
my Carhartt shirt.
Yeah, I looked for it this morning. So Casey left, and this is how quickly we get distracted. We actually had talking points today. We had a plan, and now, so like 4 years ago when I was still at my old house, Casey came up. I don't know why he came up that time. Casey came up, flew up, and I think just hung out for a day or two.
That might have been when I brought the carts.
Might have been
The Amazon.
That probably was, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I drove up.
He drove up and then flew back. So yeah, Casey got these 6 Amazon carts. It was 6 Amazon carts and something else.
It was 10.
It was 10, but you can only fit 6 in the U-Haul.
But then I also had a trailer.
And you had a trailer.
But maybe those are different things.
There were different cars. No, it was different. Yeah. It was different. It was those cages. Whatever.
Yeah.
So Casey hit me up one time. He's like, "Hey man," he's like, "I got all these Amazon carts." And I was like, "Oh dude, those are badass. Like these are to manufacture these carts. I don't know, $1,000, $2,000. Easy.
Yeah.
And
it's a train system. It's for the Amazon warehouse they lock on and they probably had 100 of them. But I was doing a lot of work for Amazon and they have a great process, which is they red tag any damage equipment. So these carts, there's nothing wrong with them.
Oh, the cages are damaged. Functionality-wise,
nothing wrong. I mean, there's dents here. There's kink in the metal, but it doesn't hurt any of the functionality of it. So,
well, there's a couple of them where there's dents where you can see where you won't be able to stack boxes in as tight as they would probably want because the cages are. But we're using, we put soft goods in there or totes and stuff, things that are more malleable.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But yeah, so I was like, hey, Andy, look at these things. These would be badass in your new warehouse.
Yeah, I think I bought them from you.
Yeah. I drove all the way up here with a U-Haul and a trailer.
Yep.
And then you flew me back home.
Yeah.
And then
you made a couple. I think you made. Yeah. It cost me like $2,500 or something.
Yeah.
You probably got like 1,000. What's that?
You probably couldn't get one for that.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I paid for all that. You made a few bucks on the carts, right? Because there's got to be there had to be worth your while to fly up.
Yeah.
And I paid for your expenses, and you got here. I remember they came off the truck, and I was like, "Oh, that's badass."
Yeah.
Then we probably went out and got wings, and you flew it the next morning.
But the point is, I left one of my Carhartt shirts that was same green as my shoes. I love this shirt. I lost it. I never knew where it was until yesterday, and he's like, "I got one of your green shirts," and then this morning I didn't find it. Yeah,
I didn't look that hard though. I'll be honest. And I knew it wasn't mine because it's like thick, and I hate fucking thick T-shirts.
It's a Carhartt shirt, man.
I don't wear Carhartt. I'm anti Carhartt.
I work because my wife bought them for me. She bought me 3, and they're $30 a pop. So it's like if I lose one, it's a big deal.
Yeah. The bitch of it, Carhartt's one of those brands where
they went woke.
And they doubled down on the wokeness, right?
Yes.
There was I didn't understand 5-7 years ago when woke folks started wearing Carhartt. So I'm like, that's a working man's. I couldn't afford. I got like our coats are duck dry, right? That is right. So people are like, oh, let's get some Carhartt coats because it's like a Kleenex, right? It's a brand name of this is gonna be heavy dungaree, heavy material. Yep. And my dad had a pair of Carhartts, like bibs. Like he's probably had them for 15 years, and like that's what he wears in the winter because they are a good, great product. Mm-hmm. Then when I started seeing blue collar types wearing them, I was like, this is fucking weird. Like, why this brand? Like, what about this brand is interesting? And then when they force people to get the jab to keep their job, that's when I was like, all right, now I'm over it. It's one thing. You have a great product, right? There are certain companies based on the product, like Aldi. Aldi did the same thing.
Aldi?
Yeah, Aldi.
Really?
Yeah, they're a European company. I got in a pissing match with a guy about it one time. He's like, well, they're not making people. I'm like, well, in order to keep their job, they have to. Well, yeah. Well, then sounds like they're making them. Yeah. However, they have the best liver sausage at the right price. And you know what? That I'm willing to make a $3 purchase and put my values aside.
Well, it's like everybody with Apple. Like they get over the fact that kids are making these phones because it's a good product. Yeah. Hey, like we get there's kids suffering over there in China in these sweatshops, but you know what? It's a damn good phone. So.
iPhones cost $10 in material to make. That's what it costs to make an iPhone.
Yeah, that's sickening.
Yeah, and they go for $1,000. Anyways, all right, Carhartt shirt. This is how simply we get. We actually have talking points.
Yeah.
And yet we get distracted when we're in real life. What else? Okay, so we talk. Distribution. That's what. Distribution. So the distribution channel, and this is we are going with a far wide audience because what we're seeing more and more now is listeners are coming from a more diverse background. For a while, there was mostly startups, and now it's vendors of junk removal companies, and now we're also seeing people that are in the junk removal space at all.
Yeah.
And so year one of the podcast was all about adding value to junk removal companies. We wanted to give away all the knowledge for free, which gets back to our why. Why we're doing this. We enjoy doing it. We want to add value to people. We are not selling these classes. We do it purely to give back. Mm-hmm. And so year one was give people technical knowledge. Year two was let's find other smart people in adjunct industries, marketing professionals, and other people that support locally owned small business, home service businesses, especially in junk wheel space, right? So that's why you look at our guest list, we started getting a little more diverse. This year, we want to even get more diverse. And this year, we really want to bring in the heavy hitters. We want to take you from, I want to become an entrepreneur, year 1, to year 2, which is, hey, I want to learn to get out of the truck.
Yeah.
Now, year 3 in business is, okay, how do I scale this thing? Mm-hmm. And again, this is, I don't care what business you're in. I don't care if you're going from selling sandwiches on your back door to a food truck to a brick and mortar, right? Every business scales in some cadence. Mm-hmm. And I remember, like, even me, when I first started going to get a loan, they're like, hey, you need 3 years worth of tax returns. Mm-hmm. That's the number, 3, right? I love the number 3, right? And they wanted 3 full years.
Yeah.
And so there's a reason why you can't skip steps in the journey of life. You can't jump ahead. And we're no different than the podcast. They said, your first 10 episodes are going to suck because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's get through the first 10. And then another thing, Taylor, our producer of our podcast, he was in a book. One of the first books I ever wrote about podcasting back in 2006.
Like the 1930s, I believe.
1930, yeah. Right when AM radio came out. He was in the book. Also, someone commented on our page. They said they thought it was Toby from The Office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone hates Toby. With good reason.
Yes.
I lost my fucking train of thought. Oh, 100 episodes. Yeah.
100 episodes, yeah.
So Taylor's whole thing was like, you got to have 100 episodes to even like really define your voice, right? First 10 are just functional. Like, how do we talk? Like, do we look at the camera? Do we look at each other?
Well, we noticed in the beginning, if y'all have probably noticed this, is that we've toned back a little bit on the fucks and shits and, just a little bit. But I remember our first few episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Our first comments that we were getting back was like, y'all cuss a lot.
You know the bitch of it is? It's not a conscious thing.
No.
It is we're more confident in the podcast.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes, we're just like, fuck it. Like,
we're comfortable.
Yeah. Because when you and I are talking, it's lots of F-bombs because that's how we talk normally.
Well, that's the biggest thing is, that's another reason we do this. We're comfortable doing it. We like doing it. Obviously, we like talking. But the biggest thing is, it doesn't really, there's no cookie cutter, I guess, paper that says this is exactly what a business owner looks like. Mm-hmm. This is how they act. That doesn't exist anymore. Now it literally is, what's your drive look like, right? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing the thing? And the biggest thing, I think, is also, how long do you want to do it for? Mm-hmm. Because we see a lot of people that want to get in this business and they want to get rich quick. I'm in it for the money. Well, you know what? There's 2 ways of doing it. One, you pull everything you have and you put full steam ahead into that business until it almost kills you. Yep. Or B, you make another plan, because I'm going to tell you right now, junk removal is not a get-rich-quick industry. Nope. And on the majority level, you're not going to get rich doing junk removal. You'll get comfortable.
Oh, yeah. And then there's some guys, like Casey Walsh with stand-up guys.
Yeah.
Right? He's also been doing it for 10 years plus. Yeah. He has a passion for it. He's still excited about doing it. He continues to reinvest, right? He hasn't, like, if he has a couple bad months, he's not going out of business.
Right.
And yet, if there's an economic downturn, something like that, he's got a lot, similar to me, very, you got high overhead, you got lots of employees, you got a big shop. Like, you can still lose even when you're doing it right,
Yeah, it's still vulnerability when you're growing.
Right. The only way to do the get-rich-quick scheme, there's a way to get rich quick in junk removal, and it is go hard, run on the job yourself, don't scale, kill yourself, and you can make 6 figures. You can, I would argue, an independent junk removal guy with a helper can make $150,000, $175,000 a year in most markets.
Yeah.
You will, and that's all you do, though.
Yeah.
All you do is junk removal. There's no time for hobbies. There's no time for your family. And the business is not scalable, because as soon as you start hiring employees and start taking on trucks and overhead, you are done. You can do $300,000 a year with a 60% profit margin when it's all said and done, 20 on operational expenses, 20 on COGS, and you can walk away with $180,000 on 300. Now, that is your life. And depending on what your level of rich is, right? If you're like, hey, I want to make $500,000, 3 years, you can make $500,000, pay off all your shit.
Yeah. Well,
however, you got to hump it one fucking couch at a time.
Well, and also remember, you get hurt once.
Oh, yeah.
You get sick once. your business stops.
Correct.
100%.
Correct. And the largest job you can probably take on is 7, maybe 10 trailers at best, truckloads. You're not going to take on big, long jobs because then you're not going to do all those other things that are necessary. So, junk removal is like it takes work. It's home services. You got to hump it one couch at a time. There are people that can sit there and trade stocks all day and make tons of money by doing minimal thing because it doesn't take much time. High fucking risk. It doesn't take much time. It takes time to drive job to job. It takes time to fucking take couches out of basements.
It's a lot of risk too,
right?
Every time you get behind the wheel, you're putting a lot at risk.
So this idea of getting rich quick. It's like people in the Army. I remember when I was on basic. Joe Smart was going around because we had time to kill, so he was just giving people shit. He's like, "Hey, why'd you join the Army?" And my battle buddy, John Sherrard, I think his last name. Remember Conrad? I mean, he used to get me smoked all the time because he was dumbass that said stupid shit. I'm Facebook friends with him. He's like, "Oh yeah, I joined the Army to get rich," and the drill sergeant just laughed. He's like, "Yep, you picked the wrong profession, right?"
Oh man,
because in the Army you have very minimal bills, and you can make good money if you do nothing else, and yet you have absolute ceiling earning potential. Yeah. Yes, you can make more money in 4 years in the Army than you could going to college or probably working out of high school.
Yeah.
However, once other people get degrees or put 4 years into a trade or put 4 years into a business, they will make significantly more money than you because they have unlimited earning potential, while in the military, you have very limited earning potential.
Well, which is why now you're also seeing a lot of active duty members starting their own startups, like their own businesses. Hustle, They'll either have, I talked to an E7, man, and he was Uber Eats. He was doing Uber Eats.
Yeah.
It's because, remember, the military is a fixed income.
That's it.
But the economy keeps going up. The military doesn't follow.
So, the economy, correct. So,
so they still got bills that are raising.
If you get a 3% increase, which the average military increase is between like 1.9
but
and 4%.
Inflation's at 9.
And inflation's at 9, carry the 1, Bidenomics, you're fucked.
Yeah. And that's the thing is they're starting to do this more, but also they're starting to realize that they kind of have a future outside the military. So I met a guy's name's Blake. He's an Air Force guy, and he's getting out this year, I think, or next year. But he has over 20 properties that he owns.
Yeah, he invests as it goes.
Yeah, he started investing in real estate a couple years ago because he's like, well, I have a fixed income, so I have stability.
Yep.
And I will say this: when you're in the military, you have a lot of time. Like, I don't care what anybody says. When you're active duty, if you're not at war, you have a lot of time on your hands to learn things you want to do, to go to different classes. Well, anyway, he started looking into real estate, and the other cool thing is with that guaranteed paycheck, it also allows you to take out loans because you have guaranteed money coming in from the government.
Yep.
So that was his niche he looked into, and now he does boutique hotels and stuff. It's pretty cool. But the point is, with junk removal, with landscaping, any of that stuff, you have to look at the risk benefit because you're driving a truck and trailer. And when you teach someone to do that too, now you're trusting them, and now they're risking your business through that truck and trailer as well. And that's why a lot of people don't grow. Because they're like, I don't trust so-and-so.
I freaked out the first time we let our guys, right? This is just truck and trailer.
Because you're letting control away and letting go of it, and you know how to adjust to that.
And you also are trusting with your customers.
Yep.
You're trusting with your customers' houses.
And they have nothing to lose. Relatively. I mean, they lose their job.
They lose a 15-hour job that they can get a new one on the way home.
Yeah. Like, there's really no better option, I think, if you think about it, to have so much power and little loss than an employee of a truck removal company. Because like, technically, I could really fuck some shit up and not really have to pay for it.
It's like a defense jumping off sides on the 1 yard line.
Yeah,
right? You lose a half a yard.
Yeah, there's really nothing to lose.
And yet you could have caused a fumble.
But for the business owner, you have everything to lose.
Yeah,
and you're fearful of it because you don't know what you don't know. But we've seen that a lot this past year. We've seen a lot of startup junk removal companies come in, and I know they want to be on the show. We have a lot of messages. Hey, can I be on your show? I just started 6 months ago. As much as we are excited for you to do that, and we want to support you, the biggest thing we also need you to understand is we want you to get the value so that way in another 6 months you're not shutting down. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, we need to bring the value in. Now, we're not saying we're not going to still have newbies on the show. We would love to have, new businesses coming in and say, hey, this is how I started, this is where I started, and this is my why. Absolutely. But our main intent this year is to bring in more value for the listeners.
Well, and so clarify that, roundabout way we got to where we started. For all startup businesses, startup junk removal companies, hell, well, I would entertain startup other non-junk removal businesses.
Yeah.
Come with a problem. That's the key. Actually, I was going to put this fucking book right. We made a set design and everything. I forgot this. It's like Pearl Jam.
Technology?
Yeah, it came off a job years ago. I had it. Does that bother you?
No, I just didn't want to tip over and fall.
I know. It's like, we'll see. That was the other experiment, to see how long it lasts. So you got your cans here. At least I have my coffee cups. I got coffee cups off a job. We got several cases of these cups. They were promotional cups that never went anywhere. And I kept one case of 24 cups. And so now I have the same cups and same lids. So I don't have to think about it as much. Probably lasts me a year or two. So I transport them back and forth from my house to my warehouse to my girlfriend's house. So in an ideal world, I'd have like 8 cups in each place. And of course, it's never that way. I have like 20 in one spot. And I'm like, fuck. I got to take cups back home. Mostly I just bring them here and then they get washed. You have
about 15 of this exact mug at your house. 24.
Was there a bunch of my house?
Oh, a shit ton.
Oh.
Yeah. Once again.
You're right. I brought them back this week. Yeah.
We got off topic that simple.
Yeah.
Because
you're coffee. Because we had a set design here. We had
it's true.
By set design,
I wish I could see the freaking sailfish you got in the back.
That'd be fucking. Let's just do it. Everything in this room came off a job. This is our warehouse. Yeah, and also Taylor's not here because it's a Sunday and it's Lord's Day. There you go. We got fishes. We got Casey. There we go. These nice ass couches. Fucking fake plant. Some other shit. Some pap shit. Let's reframe this shot now. I remember it was like right on the Weins sign. The Weins sign actually did not come off a job. I used to have a bar in my old house, and then my new house I never put the bar back. So a couple of random bar things ended up in here. There's a Pabst collection of mugs over there. Anyways. So for new guests, the goal here is simple. When we have people newer in business, we want to do a 1-hour free consultation for you live on the show. And the goal there is that we bring our knowledge in. Other listeners can then chime in with knowledge. Yep. Because there's going to be a topic that you have that we'll know something about, and yet there's somebody else in our audience that will know more about. The whole goal here is to get people talking. So for newer guests, and we've asked for it in the past, and now our challenge is simple. Be willing to open up your books to us. Whatever we're covering, right? If you're like, hey, I want to figure out how to be more profitable. Well, I need to see your books. And I don't want to use fictitious numbers. I want to use the real numbers. I want to in 1 hour, I want to sit there, I want to break the books down, and I want to show the process. I don't want you to send me the books ahead of time so I just give you a result. I want to show you how to do it. So it's real simple. You send the books.
To be 2 years or less in business.
Yeah. The first thing I'm going to probably do is tell you how fucked up your books are, because I see so many where it's like services, expenses. And it's like, well, what expenses?
Accounts receivable.
Or I'll say, hey, what are your variable costs versus fixed cost? I changed my books this last year, 2 years ago now, where I have cost of goods sold and then operating expenses. And it made it very obvious to me where my money's going.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Well, because I never had done that before. I never done COGS. So COGS are your cost of goods sold. I would do it, but I would do it like after I would do it like I would run it. Yeah. But I would be like, okay, well, those are fixed expenses, those are variable. So it's constantly like redoing all this math. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to put it all up in cost of goods sold. It took me like 2 hours on QuickBooks to
just get you a better
move things around.
Get you a better number. And get you a more
right. So if someone has fucked up, they have numbers and they're not even sure where to look at them, that'd be a good first start. Yeah. When this year, not if
like most people have QuickBooks, they just don't know how to actually utilize it.
I would say 50. We're doing 52 episodes this year. I would do 10% of that on your data alone.
Oh, so data.
That's what I'm saying. So at least five startups or people that are 2 to 3 years in business that will be willing to open up their books. We will give you 1 hour free consultation. You'll get the exact answer for your books. We were talking yesterday. We did just a quick analysis on pricing. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Right? People are talking about pricing all the time, and I can teach you how to look at your price and look at your risk aversion.
Well, we also went over the simplicity of how much more you gain
Yep.
from the smallest adjustment in the beginning, right? So if you adjust your price 3% versus I got to somehow cut all these expenses, the simplicity of that and the reward is insane. And one thing I can tell you is being in the storage facility business, when you have storage units, you're always having to adjust your prices. But for me, we use a 3% rule. Every 6 months, we go up 3%. That's our rate. It's automatic. So there's no like, oh, let's see what we're going to do this time. That's just how it is. So every year we're driving up 6% in our prices. Now, there's no rule that says I can't go more or less. But the people I've spoken to, the mentors, the all-around rule of thumb is that 3% every 6 months. Mm-hmm. The cool part about that is in any small business, and this is what Andy was doing yesterday on Excel. Any small business can do the exact same thing. Yep. And it's such a small adjustment, but it's consistent over time to where your customers aren't going to freak out about it. You're not going to lose anything. They're not going to lose sleep over a 3% bump. But what was it? 10 years.
10 years cumulatively, you do 3% every other month. You'll gain 34%.
Yeah,
in net income. And this actually goes back to an episode I did of. Oh, there's my timer. We got to reset the camera because for some reason the camera will stop recording randomly at 29 minutes. So now I'm going to stand up, press the button again, and we'll be right back after this break. Brought to you by our good friends at Jobber, and the Masters of Home Service Podcast. I just want to say that because I got the shirt. I'm gonna like here. This is how hillbilly, right? Like some people do like a graphic overlay. This is how we're gonna do the Masters of Home Service.
Just back into the
my fucking knees. My knees are giving out. There we go. I have no idea. Here, you stand over here. Tell me if it's in the shot. This is what happens when Taylor's off and we're in charge of technology. Masters of Home Service season 1. I did a whole episode on pricing. Mm-hmm. And the question was, or not pricing, it was on expenses. The episode was, how do you cut expense? And I go, I don't. I spend more money. Mm-hmm. They're like, what do you mean? I go, I invest in things that will cost me less money over time. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how do I get rid of repair expense? Buy newer trucks.
Yeah.
How do I get rid of trips to the landfill? Invest in a warehouse so you have a place to sort the material.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the simpler answer is be more responsible with how you dispose of things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it comes down to.
Because not everybody can get one of these badass warehouses up front. I mean, hell, we started in my mom's kitchen, and the one thing we started doing right the first year was utilizing all of the nonprofits and charities around us. Mm-hmm. Because even though, yes, all this good shit looks really cool in a room, when you're first starting out, the last thing you want to do is be the culprit of, what society is making us, which is pack rats. Yep. And now you need your own services because you just have junk everywhere. So
I have 2 cups of coffee, and this one was significantly warmer. This one was getting cold. So I was like, I'm going to switch to the warmer one. We had the lid on the whole time.
Oh, it was just steaming.
I'll go back to my cold one now.
So places like, Goodwill. A lot of people don't like Goodwill. Like, oh, it's not a charity. So what? The cool thing is that it is a disposal resource. My phone thought I was saying the Googs.
The other thing about Goodwill, hold on. I had this argument like 2 days ago with somebody about Goodwill. Goodwill does great things.
Yeah.
Like here in Southeast Wisconsin, we have Amazing Goodwill. That's the franchise. And the Amazing Goodwill is Southeast Wisconsin and Northern Illinois. I remember it was one of the guys I work with who does senior transition. That's what I was talking about it. Here's the deal about Goodwill. The argument is, I don't want things going to Goodwill because they have a CEO that has this big mansion.
And they sell stuff and they make
money. They sell. And I go, hold on. Let's look at the basics here. Will they take stuff that I have that I don't want and keep it on the landfill? Yes, they will. Okay. Yeah. Will they put people to work that otherwise would struggle with employment? Yes, benefits. They do. What's it? Yeah, with benefits. Do they contribute to my local community versus, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, they do. Like Goodwill, yes, it's a big brand, and yet Goodwill locally does a lot in our community. Yeah. Okay, so it's solving my problem, and it's doing good things, and I'm not willing to do it myself, so there's that. Here's the flip side. There are tons of nonprofits. Casey works for one. I used to be involved in nonprofits. I am no longer involved in nonprofits. I've been on boards. I've given my time. I've been on committees. And what I realize is most nonprofits act philanthropically and not with disciplined business. Mm-hmm. And therefore, they go out of business because they're paying salaries to people that have really good hearts and terrible ideas.
Which is the balance so you need the balance. And On the flip side, you have a lot of nonprofits that are all business and pulling in over $300 million a year. Like,
and right, the difference between a for-profit business and a non-profit business is the word profit, or non. The profit is still there.
Yeah, it's true.
You still have to run the business. So, like, going with the Goodwills of the world, going to Goodwill for me is super convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It impacts my local community. And if I had a choice, would I rather have a CEO who makes millions of dollars a year and is very, very well qualified, or someone who makes $100,000 a year that keeps the business stable and might run it on the ground?
Well, and unfortunately, most smaller nonprofits, this is the issue we would run into. They don't have the capacity to hold items.
Yep.
And a lot of them are reactive. Like, hey,
I can take a truckload of I can take a 24-foot truck to Goodwill, unload everything.
Yeah.
Because from there, if their store is full, they'll send it to another store.
Yeah, but you have smaller nonprofits, and this is what I saw all the time. But this is also, this is where you come in to help with the reactive part. We would have nonprofits reach out.
I'm going to pour the hot coffee into the cold cup. That's what I have to do the opposite of that. Wouldn't work. Don't worry about it.
I'm spilling everywhere.
I know. I'm making a mess.
Like you just did.
I just did.
We would have nonprofits reach out. Hey, I have a homeless vet, right? We're getting him into an apartment. He has no furniture. Can you help out?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The problem with that after the fact is, can I bring you stuff as a resource? And they're like, well, no, we don't really have a location to keep stuff. So they're very reactive to situations where, hey, there's a veteran, he's in need of things. Okay, cool. So I can be that person for them. But then you have Goodwill, who, for me, Goodwill was on our Tuesdays. They picked up from our warehouse every Tuesday. And it was the same guys, big box truck would pull in between, I think, 9 and 10 a.m. They were slotted for that time. Habitat was slotted for Wednesdays.
Yep.
And how we did that is because Goodwill wouldn't take certain things that Habitat would, and vice versa. On the other side of that, when they get strict on what they take, it's not because they're being greedy. It's because, remember, they have to hold some of this stuff.
Yeah, supply and demand.
Yeah, if they're like, hey, we're not taking couches right now. And you're like, what? Well, Goodwill suck. Well, no, maybe they have 50 couches in a showroom that they just can't move. So they have to wait until they can make more room, and then they'll start opening the doors up to couches. But then you have Habitat. They were good at taking raw material and building materials that otherwise...
Our Goodwills won't take any furniture. Habitat will.
Yeah, so for us, it's the flip side.
Yeah, which is fine.
Habitat will take screen doors. They'll take windows. You get the whole windows, the aluminum framing and stuff.
Yeah. We take all our building materials. But Habitat also does all furniture by us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you have all these smaller nonprofits that will take certain things. I was telling Andy this yesterday. We were walking in his warehouse. I had a clothing person that would buy clothing from me and then resell it. I also had clothing that we would donate. And then we had Shoes for Souls. It was a nonprofit that we donated shoes to, right? And they would give them to kids that didn't have shoes and people that didn't have shoes. But I could never move linens until I found out that local pet shelters, animal shelters, they love that because think of all the crap linens they have to go through. So they're like, hey, it's pretty simple. Nothing with...
So linens are blankets and
sheets, blankets,
comforters,
towels.
Yep. Towels.
But the one thing they were saying, nothing that was puffy or that had the fuzz inside.
Yeah, because they would tear it up.
Because they tear it up and then they eat it and stuff like that. So I was like, sweet. So now I can get even more into my local community by supporting local, shelters, animal shelters. So it's all about your resources around you. So in the beginning, that was one of the things I learned was, what are the two highest expenses that I really can't control? I mean, I can control them, but it would actually hurt my business. Disposal and payroll.
Yep.
So how can I make the best of both worlds? How can I chip away at disposal? I know I have to throw this stuff away, or do I?
Yep.
And then the payroll thing, well, the more you work, the higher payroll is going to go up.
Natural.
So the more jobs you have, the bigger expense you have on the payroll side. So it's kind of like a catch-22.
Yeah, and the thing is with payroll, for me, what I've figured out with payroll is that there's certain positions and people where salary is good because then you can recruit and maintain the higher quality individual. And then I also like having a deep bench, so I have people at all points of payroll. Right, so we have some guys at $15 an hour up to like $24, $25 an hour. And recently we lost our two highest paid guys. We lost them. And yet I brought in and replaced them with guys that were less expensive and get as much work done.
More efficient.
So they're more efficient. So, or they're as efficient and they're less expensive. So, for example, the other thing we do is we have junk removal specialists that are qualified to drive the truck,
Yeah.
and they're not crew chiefs. So now I can run two crews in tandem, where I don't have to have two crew chiefs. I can have one truck that has a crew chief and a drunk roll specialist, the other truck that has two drunk roll specialists, one that can drive. Mm-hmm. So now I can run two trucks in tandem because I still only need one person talking to the customer, one person interfacing with our software and collecting payment, and the other guy can drive to the landfill back and forth because he's qualified to drive and go to the landfill or transfer station or scrapyard or wherever he's got to go. Or just drive back here. So there's other ways where you're like, hold on, I want to invest in other people. And now the goal is that driving drunk roll specialist is eventually promoted to crew chief, and then I bring in another drunk roll specialist, right? And ideally then another guy on the team that has a good license, because that's always a challenge for us, can get promoted. So we're constantly bringing in our bench versus saying, oh man, I got to cut this, and me as the owner, I need to do more. It's like, no. Well, get two or three really good people that are salaried, two or three people on the leadership team, they can get all those things that need to get done that work on the business so that your guys in the field can bang jobs. And when you have an operations person that routes the trucks, well, I've seen shitty ops people that have terrible routing, or they're not great at customer service. They're not willing to work with customers on, hey, what if I move you here versus here? It's like, you'll piss away an hour or two a day from shit routing.
Yeah.
And also, as you get more trucks, routing becomes a lot simpler because if we have one truck and you got customers, you got to go where they are. You get 3 or 4 trucks on the road, 6 or 7 trucks on the road, now you got sectors of fire.
And we would have a target. So we would have 3 circles.
Yep.
And I would have one crew on the outer banks.
Yep.
One crew in the middle.
Yep.
And one crew tight. Like, hey, this crew is going to be like really in the community today. Yep. And if they're done early, they're done early. Maybe they can go pick up a job in the middle section.
Yep.
And then this one crew, hey, you're going to be driving a lot because we just have jobs that are out there. The last thing you want is multiple crews putting miles and time
going to the farthest job. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want that. So it's all about logistics, but this is all stuff you're going to learn in the first year. But this is also all stuff that you can track in your data. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the biggest thing we saw was one of our territories. I've said this before. One of our territories was profitable. It was. But it was the farthest territory, and we had a knack at getting calls at 4 p.m. for like a couch or something. And we're like, shoot, you're going to get traffic, and by the time you get back, it's going to be 6 o'clock.
Fuck that.
Now I got to pay 2 guys 2 more hours, and I'm only getting a couch. So ultimately, we ended up dropping that territory, and we tightened up where we were because we were looking at our numbers. We're like, well, yeah, this is profitable, but imagine if we had the time and effort spent right here looking at all of our population, right? Because you can look at it real simple, right? How many people are in your area? How many jobs are you doing? How many jobs per person are you doing? And for someone who's out there banging out, 20 jobs a week, all right, well, cool. How many customers are you hitting in your population over the course of a month, a year? Because I promise you, at the end of the year, you're looking back like, wow, we did a lot of jobs. Holy crap, we barely scratched the surface of our population. Yep. That means there's a ton of room.
Oh, people in your right?
Oh, it's insane.
You go to a neighborhood, you go pick up one couch, and there's 400 houses.
Yeah, and you're just like,
what the fuck?
Okay, we have a lot more work to do. But going back to the reason that we want to keep this going and more value, one of the biggest questions we get asked all the time about the show is, can you expand more on marketing? Help us marketing. The one thing I can tell you about marketing, we can sit here with Gary Vee himself and teach you the best and almighty way of marketing. But if you don't stay in your market, it doesn't do you any good. And what I mean by that is, I get it. I was in a franchise. I was controlled. But the positive part of that, it kept me tight. It made sure that we weren't going an hour away for a dumb job. It made sure that, hey, if we were to let go of a job that was an hour and a half away, we weren't going to be out.
Well, what's interesting about that franchise in particular is that their whole goal, because it was a licensing agreement where they wanted to sell more territories, their whole goal was, hey, buy more territories, expand out. And all the franchises that bought multiple territories and expanded out before they really dominated their 200,000 person population, they failed. Because now they took on all this expense thinking, oh, it's going to be more profit. Well, no, you've just doubled your work because now you have to go win. You have to go win this city now, or this town, or this area, right? And now you're also taking all those resources away from this small area. I remember I can't remember the cat's name. Probably in our first year, we did an episode with a guy in outside of Charlotte. He's like, oh, I want to go to Charlotte. And there was this small town that's like 40,000 people outside of Charlotte that he knew. I was like, yeah, win the town of 40,000 first. Like one truck operation, you get a town, 40, 50,000 people near a population center.
Yeah.
You can do well. Be the only guy in town. Be the only game in town, right? Well, win with 50,000 people versus going after 500,000.
That's also how you become a household name. So, in the franchise world, they're always like, hey, don't you want to be like Coca-Cola and McDonald's? We get it. But in order to do that, at least in one household, you got to start small. And if you're reliable and you're the first person they think about, then you're going to be a household name.
Yep.
Now, on the other side, right, this is what I was going to say. I wish we had a whiteboard.
I got a fucking whiteboard.
I know, but I'm saying like right here. But the one thing I was talking about is the reason why.
Fucking make pictures. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I was going to just draw it up. The reason why population plays a big role.
You know what we can do? We can fucking I can just move the tripod into the other room.
We can move this camera.
We can. Yeah, there's not a fucking tripod. It's on a battery. The world is our fucking oyster.
We're going to talk about population and how it factors into junk.
We don't even have to have a break. Let me just. You grab the camera.
Okay.
You just keep me in the frame. I got my coffee. It's fucking A. Hi, my name's Andy Weins, and we're in the middle of a tour here at my illustrious warehouse in Butler, Wisconsin. We're going from the war room, which at one point was like my living room, into the greater areas. So we will come over here, set the...
Shit. This is not on a gimbal. You got lights and you light.
Yeah, I got lights. I'll get lights up. This is where we do shit. This is the creative... We'll call it the creative lab. Actually, it's just a big-ass room. Yeah. With like nice furniture. I used to shoot classes in here, so the camera used to be over here.
Yeah.
Now we can switch spots. You can. What are you doing? All right. Well, while Casey is taking a step aside, we're going to do a quick moment for Jobber in the Masters of Home Service podcast, season 2, available now. Shot in lovely Las Vegas. I had a good time on Jobber. They're going to come out later this year, and we're going to shoot a video about junk removal, which will be a lot of fun. I'm all about that Jobber life. It goes back to the investment. Jobber, for me, is about a $2,000 a year investment, and I get that back 100-fold in the operational efficiency that I have. Highly recommend Jobber. They do encourage me to say that by throwing a few dollars my way when you sign up.
All right. So, Andy, real quick, your first year in business, let's say you hit 200K, right?
Yeah, that's revenue, not population.
It's revenue. Okay. Yeah, well, we're going to get into population.
Okay.
But let's say you hit 200K.
Yep.
Of that 200K, how many customers have you touched?
200,000, let's say 500. Average, we're talking 400 customers.
400?
400 customers.
Okay, so 400 customers for 200K.
That's correct, because that's how math works. Because you carry the 1, you got 2 zeros there, you got 2 more zeros, and you got a 0 with a 5 times 4. There you go. Yes, 400 customers. 400 customers to get 200,000. That is correct.
All right. So $200,000
Yep.
for 400 customers in year 1.
Yeah.
Now, if
that's
you're
$500 average, which is higher than it probably than I was year 1. But that's about what it is now.
Okay.
In some markets, we'll use that.
So this is a good example. Like this is a very you're doing good. Like you're touching good amount.
Yeah. Actually, who is it? One of the junk removal groups, Sonoma Hauling's group, that the trash truck one. Mm-hmm. They had a guy that did a average customer value, and like he had one of his drivers was like $230 average.
Yeah.
He's like, that doesn't work. It wasn't Sonoma Hauling, it was another guy. He's like, like this guy's average sucks, right? So yeah, I would say average job when you get to scale, average job is 500. I say when you're year 1, you're probably closer to 250. So you're probably closer to 800. Make it 600. Let's split the difference. 800 customers or 600 customers. Go 600 customers because when you're doing a lot of residential stuff, you're doing the smaller jobs. That's where you're going to be at.
Okay. So your first year in business, you get 200K. You're hitting 600 customers. When you're in an area, a population of 200,000 customers, at the end of the year, you only hit 600, right? So why would you invest more of your time and energy and money to go after the bigger population outside of your local area when you're barely hitting the surface your first year in your own hometown?
Mm-hmm.
So if we had a calculator, which we do.
We have calculators.
Just to put this in perspective,
I'm going to stand in the shot.
For everyone who wants 1,000 trucks and they want to go everywhere.
All the places.
This is 0.003% It's not even a percent. 0.003. So 3%.
0.3, yeah. 0.3%.
0.3%.
0.3%, yes. 0.3%.
Of your population
That is correct.
density
Yeah.
that you're even touching.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a third of 1%.
Yeah. It gets even cooler when you actually do your market analysis of how much of your business is needed in your area.
So that's how many people you touched in your market right there. That dot that you can't see because I did it in screen. That dot represents how many people in this geographic area that you serviced.
So year 2, right? So this is year 1. Year 2, if you were just to go by basic, hey, I'm going to grow from within, saturate my market.
Mm-hmm.
Year 2, let's just say you had a good year, and you're gonna more than double your revenue.
Make it 500K. 500K.
Right? So you went to 500K.
Yep.
And you're probably going to touch, honestly, a total.
Well, make it 1,200. 1,200 because your average ticket price went up, or you're going to get some more bigger jobs.
Well, you're going to also get a lot of repeats.
That's that way. Yeah, that's what I say. So 1,200.
Yeah,
between existing repeat. Yeah.
So
now you have 12.
You're going to do more. You're going to do more than double the jobs, but you're not going to touch more than double the customers.
Yep.
All right.
1,200.
So 1,200. Now you look at that,
and you're only at 0.6.
You're only at 0.6. All you've done is double it, and we
did not fucking rehearse this, and now you got that neighborhood on lockdown.
All right. So this is just year 2. Now this is very close to our first years, also, by the way. Because year 3, this was the big year. This is the growth year for us. Yep. Okay. Year 3 is when we touch 7 figures. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And But year 3 is also when we hit 2,500 customers.
And you also, full transparency, this was your least profitable year, if I recall.
It was.
All right. Just throw this out there. Year 3, you're going to go like this, and you're like, fuck is the money?
Yeah. We lost money. I think we're about 50K, about a salary.
So last year was our third year as Camel Crew.
Yeah.
Best revenue.
Yeah.
Now, we made more money than 2 years before.
But a salary would have made the difference.
Correct. Yeah, right. It was over. We expanded. Yeah. Right. One salary made the difference last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's what happened to us.
Yeah, because you expand and your revenue doesn't expand with you because you're investing for the future. Yeah. Now this year, we're already way profitable.
Right.
The first 6 weeks of the year because of all the investments we made last year. Year 1 and 2, we made the money so we can make the investments year 3. So it was closer to break even. Anyways, pop.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, why would you go outside your realm? Okay. A lot of the listeners are like, hey, how do I better market my area? Like, I'm in all these groups, or I'm doing Google Ads, I'm doing all this other stuff. Here's the cool thing about Google Ads, but here's the shitty thing about Google Ads. When you use Google Ads, yes, you can target, right? But then you also hit all these freaking people that are not in your local area. Now,
we would be disciplined on your zip codes.
Yeah, you got to be very
I
disciplined.
don't know if I'm in the shot. I think I'm in the shot.
But at the same time, what worked for me, you have to look at it. What does your local area need, right? Reliability and referrals. They always count on referrals. So like for us, for instance, our year 3 was our biggest growth year. Year 4, this is when we went profitable, right? We probably touched about maybe 4,000 total customers.
Did 1.5 or whatever it was, or what'd you do?
We did about the same.
Oh, about the same.
But we were more profitable.
Oh yeah, because you had the right 400.
Yes.
Because right. When you do far and wide, like sometimes, and I'm guilty of this, you'll go do a job over here.
Yeah.
Because it's a really high revenue job, and it's like, cool, that was awesome, and yet it never materializes in anything more long term. Yeah, unless it's one of these customers that have a building or relationship over here, then it's worth it.
So I don't even know if that's in the shot. But so year 4, let's just say 3,500 customers.
I'll make sure it's
same revenue, but yet we brought in 30% profit.
See, Casey used limiting self-language by saying, "I'm not sure." It's not because your body's in the way. That's why it's not in the shot. No, just stand over. Go back over there.
All right.
Now the ring light's in the shot. See,
there we go.
I'm not. See, data-driven decisions. We're making a decision off of data. The data being, what's our metric? Well, the shot. See, now I worked myself out of the shot, and that's fine. You look good. You look strong.
All right, good. So the reason why this is important, a lot of people are like, oh, well, you didn't make any more money than you did the year before. How is that not true? I had a loss.
Yeah, you brought in this thing. You made a lot more.
So I actually lost money in this year, $50,000 loss. Year 4, 30% increase in profit, same revenue, more customers, right? Year 5, this was the money maker. This was 2020. All right, this is where our best year to date. This is when the whole country shut down, and I was like, we are essential. So year 5, it's true.
No, you're not wrong.
You know,
I mean spade is spade.
Year 5 is when we really hit a lot of people. 5,500 customers, and then we busted the million, the million mark. All right, super profitable. Let's just say 45%, but a lot of it was due to bigger jobs, an anomaly type situation where people were forced to be at home to do more at-home projects, thus creating more trash and waste that need to be picked up.
Vacuum.
Right. And then year 6 is when we exited at a really good price with our total. I'm pretty sure our total customer count was like 7,400
on the year, or total through the year.
This is a running total. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. Also, mind you, yes, those numbers, the 600, 1,200, 2,500, they're not going to add up to the 7,400.
No.
Because a ton of those are projects, not customers.
Yes.
Yes.
So you look at it and you're like, well, how much did you do this 6th year? Well, it really doesn't matter as long as you're growing and as long as you're profiting.
Yep.
And that's a lot of us, we forget about that. Profit, right? Yep. You always want to grow, not show. So when we do, let's just say, I think it was like 1.5, and then we sold, right? Our total customer count was 7,400. Our total job count, you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's like 14,000 something, right? So let's just put, just for kicks.
So every customer is worth 2 jobs.
14,000, let's just say 300. Job count. And then this is my favorite part. We did a market analysis year 4.
I'm going to do some hillbilly math to see if your shit's adding up. Just your because you know those bottom 2 numbers because you looked at them.
Yeah, but like these are just I
I know. I'm going to see how close you are doing hillbilly math. I'm good with it.
So, anyways, we did a market analysis in year 4, and here's what we found: our area,
13.3. Those numbers add up to 13.3.
Do they?
So you mean to be within 1,000 on complete hillbilly math?
Yeah.
This here is 13,300, right? So variance of 1,000. That's pretty good. There's our alarm telling us we have to stop again.
Oh yeah, pause because I want to get to this one. I'm bringing it home, so we got this number right here. We did a market analysis year 4, and it was to say that there was an $18 million per year junk removal need in our 200,000 population market. All right, so we'll just do this for whatever's sake. 18 million per year in business potential. Okay, at 6 years, never really coming outside this area. At 6 years, I got 1.5. I only touched maybe 7,400 people out of the population, and yet there's still all this business left on the bone. So when I see these people saying, hey, they want to corner the market, they want to go all over Dallas and Fort Worth, I never went into Dallas. I never went into Fort Worth. I stayed in suburbia and a lot of warehouse areas, industrial districts. And the cool part about it is if you just look at your numbers, your population, and you can say, hey, how many people are in my area? How much business is needed in my area, right? You get all the answers you need. Now, year 1, this is a very good average. I think we did 254 our first year, right? 200K, I think, is very in line with every junk removal
right.
operator.
I would say first rolling 12, right? Whatever it's January to January, first rolling 12. 200 is a solid place to be.
Yeah.
That's a proof of concept. I should say 100 is a proof of concept. If you're under 100, you're doing full time, you're not eating.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
200 is we got something here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's the thing. So these numbers may not be exact, but these are pretty fucking spot on. And I'll tell you this, if I were to just do simple data research and said, let's just say I did the exact same thing the next 6 years.
Well, the exponent on this isn't double. It is.
Yeah.
That's you're probably 3 or 4x that. Yeah. Because you got to do the compounding over time.
And that's the thing is, this is all without leaving the realm. I'm not saying you can't do
at some point there's a ceiling, right?
Yeah.
And also you're going to have population density, right? But we got to look at of this, right? If we said we touched.
Well, we'll do right now. We'll put a price on that population.
Hold on. What percentage? We got to figure out. What you got to figure out is what percentage of these people need junk removal every year.
Right.
Because right now you're at point.
Well, you can get that right here. Let's just say.
Out of
6 years.
Yeah. After that.
Out of 6 years, if I touch 7,400 out of 200K,
right,
and I pretty much saturated my market.
So do the math. What's 74? Did you already do the math?
I was doing the other one. I was doing the other math.
What math? There's only one math.
I was doing
No, do 7,400 projects over. That's your total addressable population over a 5-year period, right? And then you divide that by
so
5. So what is that? 7,400 divided by
3.7%.
3.7, right?
Percent,
But
not
I got
37.
No, 3.7. Now divide that by 5.
0.0074.
Okay. 0.00. That's your average. So that's 0.74. So what you're saying is basically 1% of the population
Not even.
is going to need, right? So that's 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Right? 2,000
200.
people?
200,000 people.
No.
Oh, yeah, 1%. Yeah.
1% is 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Here, you're only at 600.
Yeah.
Right? And then you look at, so the Hillbilly math says of this population, 1% of all people in your market. So if your market is 40,000 people, a simple argument is, because you haven't even got there yet, right?
Yeah.
You haven't maximized, not even close. Because there's other competitors and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like your total addressable population is at least 1% of your total area, right? Could be up to 5% of all people in a given geographic area need junk removal.
And then you look at that number, which is the market research we did based on our area.
Yeah.
$18 million a year in junk removal services at $200K.
Correct. So that,
now,
correct. Yeah. Well, that
you
that
can.
math,
It'll tell you the customers you're not touching yet in your own area.
Well, that's the addressable. That's the end of the projects.
Yeah.
See, this is why I love Excel because I can Excel this like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I can whiteboard it though.
So my area, the Northeast Tarrant County area, in 2021,
so 18 million
was $18 million a year business.
I'm gonna do it here.
Yeah.
Get your calculator. You do the calculations while I talk. This is what I normally do.
I keep hitting it. There we go.
All right. So do that. So 18 million.
Okay.
Divided by 200K.
90.
90.
90.
90?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that means 90. Hold on.
Yeah, flip it.
Oh, I don't flip shit. Hold on. My math ain't mathing. Hold on. I got to figure out my math. See, when I'm in Excel, I don't have to think about that. When you do whiteboard math, hillbilly math, you really have to think about what am I doing here.
Math.
90. I'm trying to remember what this 90 gets me. Hold on. This is 18 million.
That's pretty much
addressed.
If you were to say everyone here uses junk removal, that's $90 valuation per customer.
That's great. That's what I want.
But you have to get the percentage, which you said was 1%.
Yeah.
So that's 2,000 is what your number is.
Total addressable population. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to address this. Oh, every person's worth $90. That's what it is. That's not the math I wanted. I don't want to math that shit. Oh, this is why I did the math wrong. 18 million. That's right. I went backwards. See, this is why Excel is great, and I can do it real fast. And people don't normally know what I'm doing, but when I have to type it, here we go. 18 million divided by our average customer of 500. That's what I want to do. Go with that. 18 million. 18 million. This is to tell me how many customers I have. And now we can see what percentage of customers you actually served in your best
36,000.
There we go. 36,000.
Wow. That's
also,
crazy.
Right. Yeah. See, this is the number I was getting at. Yeah. All right. Also, I use whiteboards and not and markers got shit memory. Okay. So that means if this number is true, that your total this 18 million, that's for just this area. For what area?
That's for our Northeast Tarrant County area back in 2020.
Which was 200,000 people.
Yeah. 230.
Okay. That means there's 36,000 customers every year at $500 average job.
Yeah.
And you did your best year. No.
Oh, yeah.
Best year is 5,500. Projects, right? Not customers, 36.
Well, this was 5,500 customers total.
Well, how many projects did you do in that time?
I don't know off the top of my head.
You're killing me then. All right, fine.
But in year 5, I'm saying if we were at 5,500 customers.
Hold on, we know that 14.3 is good.
Yeah, the 6.
All right, hold on. Times 5. Let's just do this.
7,400 total customers, 14,300 jobs.
All right, here we go. 36,000 times 5. I mean, 36,000 times 5.
Mm-hmm. Times 5, 180. 180,000.
Okay, so that's how many projects were done in a 5-year period. And you did 14,000. So now give me 14.3.
Divided by 180.
180. It's going to come out to
7%. 0.079. That's the market share I had.
8% market share.
Yeah.
In a 5-year period, he had 8% market share. That means, again, this is the assumption that this number, 18,000, was a total addressable market. That's the
18
right. This is something 18 million. This is somebody else's math. Even if we cut that in half, cutting this in half would double this number
to 16%.
16%, right? Yeah, so someone asked me what's the total market share you own in Milwaukee? And I did the long math.
Yeah.
I took 10 billion.
Yeah.
I did this math. 10 billion That's what the industry's worth nationwide.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I did 10 billion,
yeah.
and then I divided against 350 million people in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
There, do we need this stuff?
Here we go.
There we go. I'll do the math. We're good
Hey,
with
y'all
all
are
this?
getting some lesson right
Oh
now.
my god, this is, and we're doing whiteboard math because I love whiteboard math. Here we go. And I've done the math on Excel, so I kind of have an idea of where it comes out to. Here we go. $10 billion. This is total market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we know that data is good. We know that data is good. Okay. Okay, this is a long way to get there, and yet we're going to do this. All right, here we go. Now, this is what I need you to do. My total addressable market, the people I can drive to, is 1.7 million. That's my total addressable area in Milwaukee. That's six counties, basically. Okay, so divide that by 350. These are both million, right?
Okay, divide by 350 million.
Yep. Yep. What'd you get?
0.0048.
0048. Okay, so that means Milwaukee attributes the entire Milwaukee metro market is 0.5% of the entire United States. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now, let's do the 10 billion. 10 billion again. Multiply that by the 0.48.
A lot of fucking zeros there.
It's 10 million.
Love it.
There's a math.
Times 0.48.
Yep.
You are at $4.8 billion. 4.8 billion.
Well, it should be 4 point. No.
You said times 0.48.
0.48. 10 billion.
Yeah. 10 billion times 48%.
Yeah, should be not bad. Would you come up with 48 million?
10 billion
times 0.48.
4.8 billion.
That should be. What was your first math? See, this is why we're mathing.
My first math was 10 billion. This is just simple. This is a simple
0.048.
Okay, so not 48%.
Yeah, 0.4. Yeah, correct. 48% is 0.048. 0.48. 0.448 is 0.0048.
You said 48% though.
I did, which correct because I
just 0.48.
It's not.
Yeah, it is. That's
as a number. It's 480.
Okay.
480 million. Right? Mm-hmm. That's theoretically how much?
480,000.
480,000. What did I do?
No, you're good.
No, 40. No.
You said million. You don't have to erase it.
Jesus. Now
we need
40,
Taylor. That's why we need Taylor.
48 million. Not 48,000. Not 480. There we go. So many numbers, right? So you got to get rid of these two numbers.
Yeah, okay. So 48 million.
48 million, right? So if I do 2 million a year, right?
Yeah.
So take my 2 million divided by 48. So it's inverse here.
2 million?
Yep.
41,666. So 2 million divided by 48.
Million. You divided by 48. 2 million
divided by 48 million.
Divided by 48. You can just do 2.
All right, we're at 0.041.
So I own 4% of my market. That 2 million a year.
Yeah.
See, this is how you do percentages. Over.
No, I know. I get it.
Well, this all got jacked up. Because you tried to tell me.
I did exactly what you told me.
I said 48%, which is 0.0048. 0.48%. There, you know what? There's my decimal. 0.48. I understand. Percentage doesn't mean shit. Yeah, this is why your calculator sucks. I'm like, you're trying to tell me that's 48 or $4.8 billion in my market? It's a strong ass market.
Not at all.
All right. So here we go. Here I am. No shit. Here I am. I average 4 trucks a day, right? You want to take the next math? That means, right, if I average 4 trucks a day and I own 4.1% of my market,
each truck is a percent.
That means there's 100 junk removal trucks in Milwaukee every day.